Hi, I'm Hannah. Welcome to my channel, Mostly Paper Crafts. In this video, we're looking at the Crop and Create cards from the Fall 2023 event. First up is Crafter's Companion, and you can see the cards that were made by the instructor in the photo in the back. And here you are seeing my version of the cards. This class was all about gilding, which is a technique that I had never done before, and it really was so fun to get to try something new. Next up, we are looking at tailored expressions and birthday cards. I really liked this color palette. My colors were just a little bit different because I was using distress inks, but I was very happy with the bright and cheerful colors and how these cards all came out. I think my favorite one is that one that you're looking at there with the ink blended background and all those tiny little stamps, but this cake is really cute too. Our third class was from scrapbook.com, and I adore the paper and the rub-ons and just everything about this collection. I actually went into their website and ordered some more so that I can make more cards like this. But we also got to use Cloud Whip, which you can see stenciled on this card here with the butterflies. And this card was so much fun. This is an infinity card, and Laura Graff just walked us through this step by step. So fun and so easy to create. I'll definitely make more of these in the future. These Hummingbird cards are from LDRS Creative, and I stuck with their designs for the most part here. I used my own dies, so I didn't have exactly what they did, but I really loved just the beautiful designs of the hummingbird and the flowers, and we did some ink splattering, and there's lots of embossing and lots of little details on these cards that I don't have time to go over, but just a very pretty class. Pink and Main is up next, and I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do for my cards because this wasn't my favorite color palette, but I did create a shaker using a lot of the products from their kit, and I also did a gatefold card with a belly band. Those snowflakes have some of the lunar paste on them from Simon Hurley, and I liked being able to just change up the designs a little bit and make them more something that I wanted to create. This one here is very close to the original design and featured more of that solar paste. I am obsessed with all dies from Honeybee stamps, so of course I loved the kit that they sent us. I actually created a full window for my first card. I'm not exactly sure how I'll do the inside of that. For this one, I cut out the crossbeams of the window frame. That was actually my friend Jessica's idea. And for this one, I stuck with the original design, but I did pop in some blue so that the window was a little different than the background. Speaking of being obsessed with die cuts, here comes Spellbinders, and I did stick very close to their original designs as I worked through my cards here. I love that they gave us all of the different papers from their collection. All of the dies are beautiful. This cute bow-shaped card is just so unique, and I can't wait to give that to someone. And I mean, look at these cute die cuts. How do you go wrong with a card like this? Simon Hurley is up next for Ranger, and even though some of this is not my own personal style, I really had fun playing around with the different products, and Simon is always a blast. That original first background there I did cut in half and put it on 2 cards just to give a little more white space to the cards. I loved these critters. I love dressing them up and putting them into cute little scenes, and I did some extra cutting and coloring so that I could make a couple of extra cards here. Gina K led us off the next day with some fancy folds. I hadn't created cards with these exact folds before, so it was really fun to get to learn a couple of new card fold techniques. We also did some wood graining here with our ink, which was really fun. And these are all A2 cards, but this gives them a different life. They open a little bit different, and that's just a lot of fun. So we've got our Z fold, and then this was probably my favorite. It creates kind of a shadow box effect there. I'll definitely make one of these again. Okay, fun folds. These are from Stamps of Life, and there are so many different things that you can do with this, but you are just going to love the way that these cards open if you haven't seen it before. This first one is pretty simple. It just has a little window there, but this next one has a flip it in it. And so when you open the card, it flips back and forth, and it's just so very much fun. For this last card, not only is there a flip it, but there's also an extra panel in there so you have a place to hide your message. I loved making this. I'm sure someone's going to love playing with it. Fawn is one of the companies that I first became obsessed with when I started card making. And this little crow girl is so cute. She goes really well with the Harvest Scarecrow, which has been in my collection. And this first card here, if you didn't notice, I used gilding for that stenciled background, but it was a little bit blurry. So I added some foiled die cut leaves just to bring out the detail. My favorite stamp in the entire box is this floral pumpkin design, and I'm just obsessed with it. It stamps so beautifully, and I used it on all 3 of my cards. These are all Brutus Monroe designs here. I used some salt with my watercoloring on this one. And for my last one, I watercolored this with distress pencils. And then I went back and I heat embossed over that just to bring out the detail a little more. And I just liked it so much that I turned it into an easel card because I thought it looked like a little piece of art and I wanted a way for it to be displayed a little bit fancier than just sitting normal on the shelf. I think it was inspired by Gina K. That brings us into our 13th class. This was Sunday morning with Kathy Zilski for Concord and 9th. Absolutely loved the products in here. And I live in the desert, so I absolutely love cacti and succulents, and the color palette here was just so good. So I made a mistake when I was ink blending through my stencils on my second card, and I ended up chopping my pieces to make 2 cards instead. Nothing wrong with that. And I also wanted to try out the stencils combined together, so that's where I got that final card design. I don't have a ton of Altenew products in my stash, but I really love the way that their stamps and dies and embossing folders all work together. I don't have a glimmer machine, so I'm glad that I wasn't asked to do any hot foiling here. But these pieces all come together so nicely, and we were shown how to use them separately and together, and I think that they just created really classic cards. Hero Arts is another one of my personal favorite companies, and Libby had us make some sympathy cards. So cards that aren't particularly fun to make or send, but nice to have in your stash so that when you do need to send them, you have them available. I stuck pretty close to her original designs. I did make a few creative choices of my own. This third card is one that I changed up quite a bit from hers. But I am happy to have these cards made so that when it's time to send them, they're already available. This is it. This is the last class. Class number 16, Picket Studios, and they have some really unique products. I used some of Simon Hurley's solar paste through the stencil for one of my layers on that first one. I used a little less color on this one than in the sample. And the third card, I just went and did my own thing here. I saw Laura Graff recently do a card like this where she ink blended over die cuts, and I just had to try it myself. So 4 days worth of card making classes. I created almost 60 cards, but in order to make that happen, I did take off 2 days from work, Thursday and Friday, and I did spend the majority of the weekend before the event doing all of my homework. If I hadn't had the time or made the time to do all of that prep, there is no way I would have been able to finish all of these cards and all of these classes in one weekend. Which would be fine, but I know myself, and this is my 3rd time doing the fall card making event with Scrapbook and Cards Today. And if I don't do the class during the weekend of the event, I'm never going to go back and do it. And I know that because this is the 3rd time that I've done it. So I really did prioritize getting my homework done, getting all my supplies organized, and really just blocking out my schedule to just make cards for 4 days. And it was really such a pleasure. The event is so fun, and I love all of the hullabaloo around it. It really feels like you're doing something special. And even though I was crafting alone at my house, I really didn't feel alone. And it was nice to have all the comforts of home and not be out somewhere doing this event. It's so fabulous, and I am absolutely going to sign up to do the October event again next year. If you have any questions about the cards or the event, you can put them into the comments of this video. I'd be happy to talk to you more about this. I am posting photos of all of the cards that I made on my Instagram channel, which is what Hannah's making, and it's nice to be able to see them in a little more detail there. I don't host a blog, so that's really the only place that I put photos of my cards. And you know, many of them are almost exactly the same as the instructors, which is fabulous. And then some of them I took creative liberties and made them my own. I love that we have the choice to do whichever we want, however we want to do it. And these are my cards. I can't wait to send them out. I knew I needed to get this video done so that I could have record of them and then send them out to my friends. Hopefully not these sympathy cards anytime soon, but thank you so much for watching. I hope that this gave you an idea of what a Crop and Create event is like and the kinds of cards and things that you might expect. And until next time, I'll be here making cards, and I hope that you will go make something beautiful.